Think about companies like GameStop. They were very volatile and liquid, but that trade doesn't go on for years and years. And with our company, we're basically holding a bunch of Bitcoin. Everybody knows we stand for Bitcoin. Everybody knows we're going to buy more Bitcoin. Everybody knows we're not going to sell the Bitcoin. So we have credibility and we're durable. The S&P index has a volatility of about 12. Gold is 10. Real estate, 18. Apple, 20, 22. Tesla, 45. Bitcoin, 75. MicroStrategy is levered Bitcoin with a passionate shareholder base, 120 to 140, 150 something, but more than 100.
Okay. Do you hold any MicroStrategy? If Bitcoin goes up, the company's valuation will go up as well. With that, what's happening in Crypto Crew? Sean's coming back at you, another cryptocurrency video. Getting straight into it. When people hear flag, some people think this, someone waving a flag. When I hear flag, the Bitcoin bros, we think of a bull flag. And right now, that looks like what Bitcoin is doing right now. We've had this huge flag pattern that's been forming since January of this year, and we've just been consolidating here. And this looks like this right here, a flag pattern, putting in lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, until you have that continuation to the upside. So you come into it in a bullish fashion, you put in lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, and you're just consolidating up. Are we going to see this coil up to the upside and break and have that continuation to the upside? Where is that upside target? We'll look at that here in a second, but we want to show you this in the RSI. From this previous pullback, from the peak of 73, from where we are down to 62 at the current time of this recording, we had the RSI completely reset. And one thing to note, we put a low in, we put a high, and then we put a higher low in, which is bullish. And then we came back up and actually put in somewhat the same price range on that 87 range. So this was like potentially a double peak, but look here. At the current time of this recording, we put in another lower high than this previous low. So could we just continue to stair step our way up and up and up as this price action goes up? Maybe so, but focusing in on the price action, what do we see? We see this bull flag once again. Where could this bull flag be going? Let's pull this flagpole up and see where the technical target takes us all the way up to. That takes us up to $113,000 Bitcoin price. Are we going to see this? Now we got to pay attention to this level right here, this low level, the 59.5 range. Right now, we are below the 20 moving average, and the 20 moving average sometimes can act as resistance, which it acted as resistance right here. And if we look back in the charts, we got below this 20 moving average before, but when we retested it, we didn't get rejected. So that is something to pay attention to. Could this just be a ABC retracement and we're getting ready to blast out up and have the continuation, or are we going to see further downside towards the 200 and go back down into the $50,000 range? You have to be patient. You have to see where these levels hold up at. The price could break down. If it breaks up, this bull flag pattern definitely looks bullish. An update from Johnny Wu, what he's calling for, mark my words, this cycle will be shorter and smaller in comparison to the past ones. And Bitcoin will see $100,000 for sure, and strong altcoins will do 3 to 5x at least. Don't forget to take profit at the right time. Don't hold your bags down to the bottom. He's showing this chart right here. The 2017 all-time high break, that's where we are right now. We just sort of are consolidating around the area that we got rejected from last cycle. We got rejected once, twice. is third time a charm. Once again, taking a look at the price action. The last time that consolidation pattern played out, let's look on the weekly, back in 2017 when it got rejected right here. How many days did it take until the all-time high? We'll look right here. This took about 133 days. So if we have anything similar to that, we'll say 133 to 150 days, we'd be looking at roughly around September of this year. Q3 of this year is when we can see this blow off top for this cycle based on the previous cycle. And what do you think? Do you think this is going to be the case? Any way you cut the cloth, pay attention to what's happening with the price of a home. In 2016 to 24, what's happened? Homes have gotten more expensive in dollar terms, but look what happened in Bitcoin terms. In 2016, you could have bought this same home for $288,000 with 664 Bitcoins. Well, look what happened. Bitcoin is extremely outpacing the dollar debasement. So this is over a 8-year window. What's the next 8 years going to be? Is one Bitcoin going to be able to buy a home? There could be interesting times ahead of us. And without further ado, let's hear the latest from Max Keiser and what his take is on what the average person and investor needs to be mindful of when diversifying into these crypto markets, and how you can be a safe trader. Let's hear from Max.
Yeah, for the individual, they're taking on more risk. They're taking on risk that they don't need to take on. So, one of the maxims of money management is not only how do I make more money, but how do I take less risk, right? So the people who are successful money managers are always reducing risk to get that rate of return. And so institutionally, they have tools for them to eliminate their risk. So Larry Fink has a lot of Bitcoin in his ETF. He also has a lot of hedges on to protect himself on any downside. And those hedges for him are relatively cheap to being free, whereas the retail investor can't afford those types of hedges. And they can't manage those types of hedges. So they're just taking that risk face right in their face. And so it's an asymmetric relationship between Larry Fink and everybody else, number one. Number two, as you point out, rightfully so, it's a proxy. It's not actual Bitcoin. So if you think you're buying Bitcoin when you buy an ETF, you are not. When you think you're having Bitcoin on an exchange, it's risky. There's only one way forward, and that would be self-custody. But nevertheless, the ability for ETFs to shine a spotlight on the ability of Bitcoin to demonetize fiat money and demonetize gold, like a lot of the gold ETF money is flowing out of gold into Bitcoin. Now, before the Bitcoin ETF, I could say that on Twitter and say, I think that Bitcoin's going to demonetize gold, and it would be like, that's an interesting idea, but maybe not. But now I can say, look, people are selling the gold ETF and buying Bitcoin ETF. So that's proof that Bitcoin is demonetizing gold.